Hey? Yeah, that really did happen. Your team is in the Final Four. They're in the Final Four, and there's nothing that I like to see more than a team that had absolutely no sniff. No one gave them a sniff at beating the Philadelphia 76ers. No one thought they would even come close. Oh, once Simmons and Tybal started to find out Trae Young, it was over. And you got ended by Red Velvet, my American twin, my doppelganger, a ranger, a redhead. You got ended by him. You got finished. The process is done because of Red Velvet. And now we're just celebrating that. We're just celebrating that one more time because I thought I had some unfinished words to say after last game. I was in a bit of a state of flow. I was happy. I was happy. And no, I'm not a Hawks fan. I get that a lot. And I feel like almost like I'm stabbing someone in the back by saying that. I am still a Pistons fan. But again, how can you not be behind this team when absolutely no one wanted to even mention the Hawks name? That is why I've been so invested. Not just because these fans, you guys are like legends. I haven't had one negative comment on any single video, and I've made like 12 videos, which is just absolutely ridiculous. I don't know how that's even possible. But also the fact that heading into the playoffs, no one wanted to even mention the Hawks. You had the Philadelphia 76ers, you had the Bucks, the Nets. Oh, the Knicks are back, hooray! Oh, the Miami Heat, you better watch out for them. They're the bubble champions, all of that stuff. Then we've got the Celtics. How about the Celtics struggling? What about the Washington Wizards? What about the turnaround that the Washington Wizards went on? Russell Westbrook, Bradley Beal, look at the star power. That's a team that went from towards the bottom of the NBA to the 8th seed. What's another team that I can think of that turned around their side? But they didn't just squeak in an 8th seed. They made the 5th seed after changing coaches. Oh yeah, the team with the guy that was snubbed of an all-star appearance, Trae Young. And I'm going to mention that every single Hawks video, probably until I die. Because the fact that this man did not make an all-star team is criminal. People were talking about how Russell Westbrook was snubbed of an all-NBA team, while Bradley Beal made it. You want two players on a team that are in Cancun right now, a team that just scraped the 8th seed, that got comprehensively beat by the Philadelphia 76ers. They need two All-NBA players, the guys that didn't do anything against this Philadelphia team. They need two of them. The Hawks, they don't get one. They don't get one, not even a snub mention, Trae Young. Yeah, that's the guy who managed to pull this team not just out of the Knicks series. That wasn't even pulling them out of the series. That was just absolute domination. He showed up in Madison Square Garden. He pretty much pulled his pants down, took a dump on the arena, left. And it's that simple. He gave you a shush, he gave you a bow, he gave you an ice tray. I can't think of anything else that he did, but he did all of those things. And he pretty much just sat in front of those Madison Square Garden fans, the entire city of New York that had been waiting desperately to get back into the playoffs. They'd been getting hyped up. Oh, ESPN. How about let's talk about some predictions? ESPN, the experts. Let's look at these predictions because it was 13-3. 13 ESPN experts had them beating the Hawks to just 3. Oh, Ramona Shelbert in 5 games. Knicks in 5? Am I missing some kind of comedic value that these guys are providing? It could be a comedic outlet. I mean, it kind of does get treated as that sometimes. But this wasn't just ESPN. I listen to different things. I listen to a lot of sports things. I could hear when people are saying, oh, the Knicks are going to win. And most people had the Knicks winning. And it just had me thinking because a lot of these people had the Knicks winning because they beat them 3-0 during the regular season. And this is when I was like, you haven't been watching this Atlanta Hawks team. It's that simple. You just have not been watching because 2 of those games were an injured Hawks team. 2 of them were without Nate McMillan, the real coach of the year. Let me just make that very clear. So 2 of those games were without him. And then the last one, the 3rd game, in Madison Square Garden. It's a close one. Trae Young leaves the game injured. No DeAndre Hunter. Clint Capella falls on his back and has an injury there, even though he still plays out the rest of the game, which shows up in the box score. But if you're watching the game, you recognize those things, and you recognize the Hawks actually were able to shred the Knicks all game long. They looked like the better team without DeAndre Hunter, with Trae Young getting out injured, and also Clint Capella getting injured towards the end of the game. So I saw those things, but people just saw 3-0 series lead. Oh, Julius Randle, MVP, Julius Randle. but Trae Young can't get an all-star appearance. MVP Julius Randle and Coach of the Year Tom Thibodeau, whereas the lowly Hawks come in as the team that no one cares about, no one wants to talk about, and that is why I love to talk about the Hawks, because no one cared about them. I mean, people are still doubting them. People are still saying the Bucks are going to sweep them. They're still saying the Bucks will sweep them, even after you were wrong. Not once, not twice, but during the regular season as well. Were you even wrong? No, you can't be wrong if you don't even pay attention to something. So I guess you weren't wrong. You've just been wrong twice in the playoffs. Just twice. Make it a third time. I'm not saying they're going to beat the Bucks. The Bucks are a very talented team. The Hawks are still without DeAndre Hunter. That never gets mentioned. It didn't get mentioned during the Philly series. It's like, did you watch the Knicks series? Did you watch the Knicks series? Because again, ESPN experts had 14-2 in terms of the 76ers to Hawks series. I'm coughing right now because that is a little bit atrocious. 14-2. I'm going to be honest. Philadelphia, much better team than New York. And at least some of those people rectified it. It was like 6 and 7 games. At least there was a little bit more respect shown to this team. So we'll give them that. We'll give them that. They paid no respect to them in the Knicks series, which, come on, like you should have been able to see the Hawks were going to beat the Knicks. I'm not trying to be Captain Hindsight, because against Philadelphia, I was tossing it up. Thought it was going to 7 games. I didn't know who was going to win. So at least they paid a bit more respect, but it took one series to recognize that. It took a series, and even still, no one wanted to bet on the Hawks. No one wanted to bet on the Hawks. Or after game 3, the series was over. Wrapped up, done. Trae Young's been exposed. Philadelphia, big guns. Yeah, you get the gist. No. Sorry, I'm just trying to clarify a few things. So, Philly fans, just Philadelphia in general, I don't want to trash Philly fans all that much, because I know sometimes it's just an unfortunate thing, but Philadelphia, you spent how many years building the process, trusting the process, doing all of those things? Ben Simmons, Markelle Fultz, Joel Embiid, Nerlens Noel, the list goes on and on, Zaire Smith, all of these guys. Tobias Harris, a max contract, only to miss layups. That's without being guarded by DeAndre Hunter. This man would have shot 15% from the field if he was being guarded by DeAndre Hunter. It's a joke. Man couldn't make a layup when it counted, and people are talking about he's an all-star snub. Not Trae, though, but Tobias Harris. Yeah, okay, the 4th best player on the team during the series. Well, maybe the 3rd, because Ben Simmons was also an all-star, and he was probably like the 12th. Seth Curry was their 2nd best player during the series. So, yeah, Kevin Huerter's son, I know, so he is his son. Like, let's be honest, Kevin Huerter put him in a rocking chair and lulled him to sleep on about 7 consecutive possessions. Kevin Huerter literally saw Seth Curry and said, "You're too small. You're going to get exposed every single time. I'm going to post you up, and I'm going to hit you with little hook shots, little runners, fadeaways. It doesn't matter." Kevin Huerter, as I said, what was I saying? Oh yeah, it took you that long to build the process, to trust the process. Trust the process. It's a process, but we're going to get there in the end. To get knocked out by Kevin Huerter. As I said, my American twin, my American doppelganger. You spent how long trusting the process to get knocked out by a man called Red Velvet? Or as John Collins said in his press conference, cave on. Because just cave on. He's just going to do things like that. He's going to knock you out. Bogdanovic was on one leg. There was no DeAndre Hunter. There was no Cam Reddish, their 2 best wing defenders. You still lost in Game 7 in Philadelphia to a team that you were supposedly going to beat in 5 games. Again, not a Hawks fan. I'm acting like one because I've seen this team get disrespected all year long. When they fixed it, it was like people were looking at their overall season record, and it frustrated me. They weren't recognizing, oh, you know when Nate McMillan took over? Oh, you know when players started to get healthy? Oh, you know when Bogdanovic averaged like 20 points on 50, 40, 90 for the second half of the season? You know all of those things when Clint Capella started to become the absolute defensive anchor that he was? All of those things we're not going to mention. We're just going to look at their overall season record, because it's not like they're 2 completely different teams. It's like looking at a team from 4 years ago and then comparing it to this year and being like, oh yeah, but their defense wasn't that good 4 years ago. Do I care? Do I care what their defense was like under Lloyd Pierce? No, I don't. I couldn't care less, because now they got Nate McMillan. Now they've got Bogdan back healthy. Now they've got Trae cooking as usual. They've got all of these things happening, and they're a different team, which no one wanted to take note of. now they're taking note of, and that's why it's just fun to see. And I'm happy for Hawks fans, because Hawks fans have been trying to say, I'm just the messenger. I'm just the only guy that will actually make content about the Hawks that isn't a Hawks fan, although I'm kind of a Hawks fan now, right now, because, I mean, how could you not be? As I said, Hawks fans are pretty damn cool, and it's just, in general, it's a fun thing to do right now, rooting for this team, because still, every single series, they've been doubted. They're still going to be doubted because people don't seem to want to learn their lesson. I mean, what will it take them? A championship? And then if they win a championship, of course, it'll be injuries. Because no one cares about DeAndre Hunter going out. He's just a second-year player. He's not a 15-point-per-game scorer. He's not an elite defender who clamped up one of the MVP runners. One of the MVPs of the league, Julius Randle. He clamped him up. Put him on clamps. Put him on ice. Dunzo. He's not even playing. Cam Reddish, another great wing defender, another great young player. He's not even playing, but it's all about injuries. It's all about these things. See, that's why I've found it so fun rooting for the Hawks, because they've just packed up Philadelphia. Philadelphia, as I said, how long did they spend on the process? Only to get packed up by Kevin Huerter. Only for John Collins to sit like this in the press conference and just send them off. Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid's throwing strays at Ben Simmons after that series. You love to see it. In terms of the Bucks series, I'm not going to make a prediction right now. I'll probably do that at a later date, but just soak it up. Just soak it up, Hawks fans. I wanted to make another video because this is more just trolling. Is that the word? I don't know. It's more just celebrating the moment. Red Velvet, the Hawks, Trae Young, Ice Trae, John Collins, Clint Capella, Bogey, Gallinari, all of these guys, Solomon Hill. Just a great team morale guy. There's just a lot of things to celebrate right now, and I wanted to do that just one more time. One more time before the Bucks series, before it's business again, and we get back to trying to get to the NBA Finals. Not we as in me as a Hawks guy, but as in we as in, well, yeah, I'm on the Hawks wagon right now. Let's be honest right here. I'm not lying to anyone, so that's the reality. Anyways, hope you enjoyed the video. Go Hawks.